going on, everybody? We are back for Podcast United Part 3.
Yeah.
The trilogy. And, we got a good one. We got the hottest, brightest, greatest podcast in the room tonight, y'all. We're going to talk about podcasts in the city. And we're going to talk about our experiences. We're going to have a good ass time. Lord. Good time.
It's not Sunday.
Right. So we're going to pass my man True.
So we want to thank Noir Wellness Aesthetics, first and foremost, for letting us use our space. So we definitely appreciate you. Shout out to you. And then we're going to start off on the corner of the room right over there, and we're going to get everybody's tag and who they are and why they started and with the room.
All right, peace. My name is Midwest Mac, and I'm with Middlemen TV. We are a hip-hop podcast, and we basically come out, showcase talent, the young talent, underground talent in the city. We go to the grog shop a lot, and we interview artists that's coming up. And we also do some celebrity interviews as well. And then we let them freestyle or do whatever, perform a song or whatever they do. And I partner with my man here. This is Bryce, my partner, and we pull up in the van. You've experienced it. And we got the thrones in the van. And the whole nine lot, so you feel like a king. It's a real red carpet experience when we pull up for you. You know what I mean? And we capture the moment, and it's really about giving back to the hip hop community. I'm an ex hip hop artist, and now I've just moved into the film aspect of things. So I'm also on the production team for 216 Legends of the Land, which is a docu-series that will be coming out very soon about the evolution, about the origins of Cleveland hip hop. So we started from the beginning. The first DJ to ever spin a record in Cleveland, which was DJ Cochise, on up through Johnny O until we stopped at Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Okay.
So that's going to be coming out soon. So we just been working, man, for the culture, basically, of hip hop.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. Shout out to y'all.
Appreciate TV. Middlemen TV. You can find me at Middlemen Music Group on pretty much all of my socials. So that's what's going on, bro.
By the way, y'all, if you want to check them out, I'll have everybody's social in the show notes. So
All they tags.
All they tags.
All right. I'm supposed to follow that. Okay. So my name is Brittany, aka just Britt, and you guys can catch me on Beauty Told Podcast on YouTube. Pretty much the premise of my podcast is I turn pain into purpose, and it is a relational advice podcast. I have phenomenal guests on, whether males or females. Kind of prefer to have the males on there so you can have basically a female and male version of different relational topics, and we just kind of go and expound with the overall result of hopefully having a positive change for you guys. You don't have to make the same mistakes we did. So if you learn from our story told, it was a story well told on Beauty Told. So that's it. Check me out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Y'all. Are we talking about how we got into the podcast, or we just
shout out your tag and then
then we go.
What is your niche in your podcast?
No doubt. Okay, cool. So my name is Rivera Sparks. You can find me on Instagram at Rivera Sparks. That's REVERESPARKS. The name of my podcast is Just Rambling the Podcast. My main focus of my podcast, I don't have if you want to say per se, a niche. I invite everyone to come on my podcast, no matter what your topic is. The premise of my podcast, I believe everyone has a voice and everyone should be heard. So the dope thing, whenever you visit Just Rambling the Podcast, we'll talk about a topic, but at the very end of the podcast, I'll tell you just ramble. So whatever it is on your mind that you want to talk about, no matter what it is, you close out my podcast just speaking free. So and I'll get in because I actually have another podcast. We'll dive into that after this. But yeah, man, that's me. So thank you for having me on the show.
Come on, yeah, there we go.
Hey everybody, I'm Scotty. I work with the King TV Network. If you don't recognize me, it's cool because I'm probably behind the camera, making sure the audio is good, making sure the video is good, getting the secondary and B-roll and everything. So that's mainly what I do. I work with the King TV Network. We are a podcast on YouTube at the King TV Network. That's King TIF, like your teeth. And what we do is we know that everybody has success stories when it comes to the city because we know the city is immensely talented in so many ways. And so we've done interviews and live events with people who are artists, filmmakers, promoters, as far as like art, actual artists, not just musical artists, but like paint canvas artists. Anything you can name of. We know that everybody has a journey. We want to put that message out there because we know that no matter what path you take, there's always a path to success. And so our niche is people who want to learn. And you have, with everybody that we've worked with, there is a group for you to find something that you feel like that I identify with them, or I feel I love this group right here. So we're very broad, we're very diverse. We just love to show off the city and let everybody know, like, listen, Atlanta, LA, New York, that's cool, but we got that in Cleveland. We got that in Cleveland. We gonna bring it together and we gonna bring it to the light, baby.
Sure. Welcome. So I'm Troop Nation. I own the Midwest Takeoff, and we specialize in your stardom. So we basically put you guys out there to share your story, from hip hop artists to actors to new entrepreneurs. It's entrepreneur based, but also it's the younger you telling you advice. So for the kids, we always drop gems for them, for the youth, but we exercise your expertise in your stardom. And we call ourselves a podcast, but we're really a talk show. But it's okay, because that's the way to wear right now on podcasting. But yeah, with the Midwest Takeoff, we want to see you shine where you the star of the show. Let's see you take off.
Hey,
Great tagline, man.
All right, my name is Terrence Glave, also known as Steel Biz on Instagram. And my podcast is, I have my co-host right here, DJ Briz.
Y'all favorite host.
Right.
I always say on the show,
He must be on a different podcast.
It's your favorite host. Other thought out.
Yeah.
Thought out is extreme.
We're going to order. But anyway. So our Instagram is Thought Ops with 3 P's because the 2 P's was stolen. So we wasn't going to be right. We wasn't going to be nobody number 2. So it could be the one. And then so we Thought Ops on YouTube as well. But our show is mainly about it's a show where it's about community. Our show is about community because we bring a lot of people from the community on the show, which I'll bring on the show because
And we argue.
Yeah, we argue on the show. We talk about different topics that we may have. We love a big part of our show. We love talking about what's going on in entertainment, like what's going on right now with he did himself, stuff like we talk about what's going on with young Lil Durk. I'm sorry, I was about to say Young Durk. That's how you know I'm old. And we talk about different stuff like that. But we also have topics that we talk about are like our weekly. Go ahead, say it.
Our featured topics. So what makes ours different is we come up with 4 featured topics, and so the guests can't study and know what they're going to talk about. We put the topics in a bowl. So whatever topic they reach in and pick in the bowl, that's what we talk about. Random. We just officially became the official podcast of the Extreme Compound.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's why I called out Extreme. So.
Yeah, thank you, Philip Wheaton, because he was like, Wade, because whoever been on our show before, I always say we at the studio, but we know who's at my house. But Phil was like, "T, where you still the podcast?" And I'm like, "I'm still in the house." He's like, "It's been a year." I'm like, "No, what am I supposed to do it?" He said, "You supposed to be doing it here, brother." Yeah. So so been doing it at the Extreme. It's magnificent. It's great. Excellent. He even gave us a little bit of advice about what to do. And it's crazy because that's like little bro turned big bro. So, but it's like a good experience working with people that you know. We get different people from. We've been doing a lot of fitness people on the show because we're affiliated with the Extreme Compound. We do a lot of. Have Brittany on the show. Have Brian on the show. I mean, anybody that want to do our show. Anybody want to do our show. It's a great time. We do talk about rappers and stuff like our show too. We was at my house, so a lot of rappers didn't even get to do the show. But y'all can come to the Street Compound at my house. But yeah, that's on the E.
Hey, he said everything. I'm like, man, a few words. So.
You're not on the show.
It's okay. It's different. I'm gonna give everybody time.
So I want to say I'm immensely honored to be amongst you all tonight too. I'm seriously. I remember it was me and T. We both said I was talking to T. I'm saying, bro, we gotta have just a thing among podcasts. I love having podcasts and shows we talk about certain things because we know what we go through, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So these right here moments like this, we talk and just gather. I love it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm being biased. So my name is Brandon Gates. I have a little podcast, The Book of Spirits. And we group with this purpose.
Yeah, man. I got something like 20,000.
No. I will say this, but I believe at the end of the day we have a group with this purpose. I remember when we started the podcast, we said to ourselves, "There's only so many names you knew of, right?" And we literally was like, we have to get those people don't know about a platform you just said.
Yes.
So our biggest, I guess we say our motto is collaboration over competition.
Yes.
And if nothing else, if anybody know about the Full Experience, we know about collaboration.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say that. You know what I'm saying? And for us, our mission is always to disrupt the idea that Cleveland is a place for collaboration. So in every episode, we are trying to encourage, empower, and educate. Thank you, Michelle. Because that's the mission. Whether you've been an entrepreneur for 5 minutes or 5 years, you need that encouragement. We get support in the community. That's what we offer in the Full Experience. So thank you for your time, Dave, for my TED Talk.
Yeah.
And thank you for putting this together, by the
Yeah,
way.
thank you
You're
so
so
much.
much.
Appreciate
Thank you. We appreciate you once again. Okay. My name is Crystal Webb. This is my first time being in this. My podcast is called Growth Becomes Her Podcast. I started maybe a little less than 2 years ago now. My main audience is women because that's what I know. But we talk about everything. You know, a lot of women, we go through things, and especially Black women, we go through things in silence. And I like to provide a platform or a community where you feel like you're not the only woman that's single, that's dealing with burnout, that's dealing with co-parenting, that's dealing with work and life balance. And we talk about everything. I like to have all women, not just my age group, younger, just starting out, older. I had a lady who was married for 20 plus years and now she's entering her divorce season, and she explored that and talks about the ups and downs of that. So I just like to provide a community where simply, like I said, you're not alone. And I always end every episode, one with a journal entry, because journaling literally helped me go through all my dark times. And I also ask the person, the guest, and even sometimes myself, like if you're at the end of your life and you only have 3 truths that you can leave the world, and what are those 3 truths? And then that's how I end my podcast.
I did that shit.
That's dope. I don't know why my boy shit. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. That's fine. Last but not least, I'm Larry Bonton. I'm founder and owner of Studio Black Box Productions. I'm normally like Scotty on behind the camera, but I've been in this space for a minute podcasting. Like some of the earlier podcasts in the city, like Chill Talk, on like Tea Time with Candy and Stacy. I don't know if you know any of those, but early on in the podcast industry, that's where I found my niche to be behind the camera because by default I'm a tech. Most of my experience and most of my learning experience came from the tech sector. So I was in that sector for like 15 plus years. While in that sector, I got to get into like buying and selling of electronics. And at some point, it was like, why sell this? Why not start taking some of these cameras and film people? And that's how like the behind the camera thing started. But it also started with being in tech. I go to these conferences, and those are important for anybody that's trying to advance their career. But one in particular is called CES. And while going to that conference every year, I always see them just pushing podcasts. It was like equipment, lighting, everything. It just changed from where it was just music at one time to podcast. And so I said, man, I need to invest in this. So that's kind of like how I got into space. And when I got into it, I kind of I fell in love with it. You know, I'm a creative too. I love being behind the camera, but I like giving my advice on those who are in front of, because I guess because I am the person that's behind the camera and I see so many different different shows like Thoughts and Vision with T. Morris, my boy. You probably know Uptown Hustle with Matt Dennis. But because I see so many different shows, I'm always seeing like, people just stop sometimes. I've seen amazing podcasts that don't finish out because they don't get those looks they're looking for initially. And I can tell you, anybody that's done before you, it's gonna take some time for you to become what you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? It's about buzzer that. Yeah, so
you need your buzzer.
I need my buzzer.
Yeah, but
You know they keep you with you.
yeah, but that's the important thing. Like I think, and that's why I wanted to be a part of this because I've always seen it. I've watched the previous one, and it's always from the perspective of those who are in front of. But somebody behind the camera can tell you a little bit about like what that looks like. What those situations evolve into, even when individuals might have something like I know that amazing something, and they just gave up on it because. Sometimes your city's going to be the last one to embrace you. That's a fact. You know what I mean? But you don't have to leave your city to get embraced because you're on the internet. So you can be anywhere in the world. So, long story short, that's me.
Yeah,
I like that.
Right.
Long story short, that's me. You can find me on IG, low-key successful, low-key_successful. Yeah.
So you might pull your chair around and and then because this is the part that people talk about podcasting. You need this
A team.
Yeah, you need a team.
Put it right here.
Yeah,
And while she doing that,
Yeah.
I know y'all partners, but you still got to say something.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
My turn.
Oh,
So I'm a future fan of all you guys' podcasts.
Come on
I like how you put that.
Yeah.
Y'all think it's important to collaborate like we doing right now today. I started out as a fan, like my man Mac, hip hop, some MCs. I still feel like I'm MC, but I'm OG now, so I like to see like an MC8 and Minister Society. I just like to see the young guys get off, So I made an environment to where people can come showcase their talent on a mobile scale. Also, I was a fan of Horizon magazine, and so I kind of mimic. You get to look at that magazine and get to see people and stuff like that. So I just kind of took a pinch off of that model and just kind of keeping it going on the digital side. So it's a mobile photo studio, podcast that goes on. My man Mac, he's one of the stars of podcasting that goes on. He's doing a great job. And that's what we got. Your lifestyle premieres on YouTube, Instagram, your_lifestyle_premiere. That's what we got. That's on you.
So I am always behind the camera, so this is awkward for me. But my name is Michelle Gates. I am the Director of Operations for the Phillip Experience. I also have my own business, MJM Virtual Services, where I'm a virtual assistant. That's how I started out helping them. So I was not into podcasting like that before Brandon came along, but dealing with them, seeing amazing people that come on, just being around in this world, I've really grown a lot and learned a lot. So thank you all, because I have learned from so many different podcasts and different events that we've been through. I don't know what else you want me to do.
It's a debut.
I don't know. So I guess I helped the pull-up change a lot because Brandon was, the worst schedule ever. So I helped them with their systems, getting in place, getting more organized, and just streaming some different systems to elevate them. That's it. That's all.
You went to
Still going?
I feel like I know you.
Probably.
Did you go to Ohio Media School back then?
Yes, no.
No, but I was at Ohio. Yeah. Stand up.
This is gonna be edited out.
Yeah, go.
Okay. If
We got it.
I'm surprised I don't
all the way into
Yes.
You know what? This is the second time he did not bring this buzzer.
It's not here
I don't know why they bring it.
I don't know why.
I thought you would have it in your bag. Bro,
It's the
you know what?
signature
I
being
tried to
this.
you know what's
That's what collaboration
Just
is
don't do the
about.
mouth.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
come
talking
on,
about.
Daddy.
So we have to pick it up from her. Michelle, then put my man, and then we gonna do it like that.
Ooh, so it's like nothing.
Yep.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Michelle Gates. I'm the director of operations for the Phillip Experience. I'm the behind the scenes doing the scheduling, systems, operations, that type of thing. And I also have my own business, MJM Virtual Services, where I'm a virtual assistant for different small business owners.
Short and sweet.
Yep.
Well, that's my initial Emmy Marquez Evans, aka Big Cleve. Used to be the pastor of Revolution 216 for 12 years. Rapper, podcast, The Other Side podcast. The Other Side Fitness LLC, personal trainer, CrossFit coach at IO Fit. In finance, motivational speaker, author, trying to be in the movie.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, all right.
We'll talk about that. Sign the NDA. Why is you talking It's been 3 years later.
So all right, y'all. So this how I want to start this off, right? I want us to talk about podcasting in Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland is not known for a place of collaboration, right? This right here is an anomaly right here, right?
Right.
So let's talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Because we are disruptors in that. So let's talk about our experience in podcasting here in the city of Cleveland. You know, go first.
Go ahead, bro.
What I experienced, this is a year and a half. January will be 2 years for me, and for me, I've been met with all love, right? So I haven't met anybody who didn't show some type of love or like, hey, what's going on? Some type of friendship. Since I got in here, I've been given so much good advice starting off, but I also utilized my own dream. So I didn't want to technically, no offense, guys, but watch all shows. I didn't want to subconsciously steal anything from nobody, so I wanted to have my own plan. And, I know the popular word was podcasting, but like I said, I tell anybody, I have a talk show disguised as a podcast, right? And because I like 106 and Park, I like Wildin' Out, and I love hip hop entertainment. And I also found out that I don't conduct myself like anybody else. So when I started doing my own lane and staying tunnel vision, it gave me the opportunity to meet all y'all, because it wasn't like, oh, I'm in competition with him or I'm in competition. We all do the same thing, but we all do it in our own way. Like, I met this brother up here the other day, and I walked up to him like, hey, I seen you before, but I don't know who you are. Let me introduce myself. Let me befriend you. And now we're here today, right?
Right.
So I always show gratitude and love to anybody because you got to open the door for people. And I feel like once you open that door, it opens their mind to get higher places. And it took me around the states, around the world, just doing this Midwest Takeoff. It's not just Ohio name, or Cleveland name. I try to make this a global name by doing tours and going places. And like some of these people today, I met today. And the only thing I would say about being a podcaster is follow your dream and be tunnel vision, but get guidance, because everybody got a mentor or a coach. LeBron James got a coach. Everybody got a coach to teach them some way. So get somebody that's already successful in the business, get a mentorship, and you'll be successful in this business. And you'll make money from it too.
I was going to say. Actually, I'll say what I was going to say. So my experience in Cleveland as a podcaster really just been this. I have not yet to come across anybody that I've spoken with that hasn't looked to be like the pull-up experience. Like I say, like shout out to y'all, bro, because you kind of, in my opinion, kind of brought that like collaboration mindset when it comes to this the podcasting. I say that right, and togetherness, man. Because and you don't really see it a lot. I would say in Cleveland, you know what I mean. And I would say if I'm speaking to anybody in Cleveland that's podcasting, like don't have a scarcity mindset. Like it's enough for all of us to eat. And the dope thing about every single one of us, we all have our own story, we got our own vision. That's how God made us, right? Everybody got their own thing about us. Like we all got different fingerprints, right? So we're gonna impact this world differently, automatically, right? And I think like having a mindset, like man, what you have to offer, like just bring it, bro. Because literally, this is my experience with. I've never met any. I don't say I've never met any of y'all. Like I know that man. That's my big cousin.
Why you looking around like that? You looking around like me? I know each other, right? Claim your cousin.
That's my family. That's my actual family, right? So,
You don't sound sure.
honestly, I invited him here because I knew it was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I invited him here because I knew it was gonna be. But no, on a serious note, like I invited him here because I knew it was gonna be collaborative. You know what I mean? I knew what the energy was gonna be. I knew like I was on the phone with B. He like, man, it's gonna be some gems drop, some guidance. So I'm like, my cousin starting this podcast. Come here. You know what I mean? Like, because I was in faith of what B told me that it was gonna be a lot of like information thrown out that I was gonna need, that usually we all was gonna need. So that's my experience when it comes to Cleveland podcasting.
So I love to say it's all been collaborative. It is not.
There's a dark side.
It's a dark side, it really is. And to rise above it has been a challenge, a lot, because y'all know that meme when Michael Jordan said I took it personal. I take it personal. And I say that because when we first started out, everyone knows when we first started out, you reach out to everybody like, hey, come on my podcast. And then like, Red, nothing. All right? It is not even me being boastful or bragging. Now it's like, now we're doing a podcast. Oh, you want to come on now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Full circle moment.
Oh, full circle moment. And thank you, Lord. So I try not to take it personal, but I do take it personal. And I say this to anybody, like Larry said earlier. I remember when we were getting over. I remember when you had no subscribers. I remember we were episode 100 and still wasn't getting nobody. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Scotty, shout out to Teeth Man, because the Teeth Man, y'all know I'm talking stuff with Teeth and whatnot, but I love it though because it's like Kobe and Iverson type of deal, right? And we used to be talking and whatnot, and like I remember when they had what's the old girl her name? I can't remember, but I remember when y'all hit that mark with that interview and whatnot. He had called me and I was so proud. Yeah, Big Tommy, right? And I remember I was like, I'm so proud of you, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was all love, and it just reminded me like Larry was saying, you got to keep at it. And then the people that, the people who doubted you, people who didn't believe in it, they don't believe. They definitely don't believe. And so they would say the podcast of time over it. We say, first placed out. It does. Well, episode 266.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like now, like it's not even a question for anybody. Now it's about when you bring value to the audience now. When you bring value to our community now. When you bring value to what we're trying to do
to the city.
To the city, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful to say we can say that now, but it's just like, okay, how can we take it to the next level? How can we take this from just not just a podcast, but turn to a movie? You know what I'm saying? So I know what we're doing here is once again changing that mindset of that big heavy vibe. So thank y'all once again. But I'm sad to say sometimes the collaboration, we collaborate sometimes, but I'm glad to say that we're changing. Thank you.
And shout out to y'all because it takes efforts like this, right? This is the third time we've done this, right? And so it takes efforts like this, and after a while you see how many people or what kinds of people show up to things like this to really prove that they're collaborative, and that's really what it takes. It takes the opportunity and the chances for you to prove that you want to do that, right? Yeah. Like I said, T was supposed to be here today. Shout out to the T from the Philippines. Get your emergencies in. And shout out to our wellness for having us.
Yes.
But like he would have more insight on those type of things, but at the same time, it's all the same effort. We all got to know what is my role, how do we move about this accordingly, and so that we can be successful.
I'm sorry. I just got these flowers, man, because everybody knows this is the man right here. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the one at the camera. He's the one with the mastermind. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm telling you, like the team, get that man his flowers.
Give him a raise.
Give him a raise.
the fact that you can represent your team like that is one thing that I see. Like, if the person that's always in front of the camera can't be here for whatever emergency, but you're like, hey, I'm part of this team too, and you come in and fill in for it as a whole. That's how any millionaire I ever met, they said, I did this with a team. Nobody done it, very rarely, by themselves. If you have a team, you will grow. And the fact that you are a team member of the King TV Network, y'all growing just because you're here. Is that, hey, my team don't lose just because one person is ill. Y'all team is winning because you're here just to say, hey, I'm a representative of that. And I'm always behind the camera. Now y'all get to see my face too.
Come on now.
Yeah, so shout out to you for that.
Hey, I appreciate it.
I don't know if this question is it
Brother, tell me your thing.
how long did it take for you to scale? Like, when did you guys start saying, you know what, I need to go beyond myself?
For the Midwest takeoff, like I said, I haven't even been doing this for 2 years. So I noticed that I started getting recognized places or people start coming up to me probably after a year. So this is a year 6 months now. January around the block, so it's longer than that. But after a year of work and consistency, people thought, once you get over that 20 episode, that's when people take you serious. You know what I'm saying? That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, people just they notice you. They look at you. Let's see what he about to do. Once I got over that 20 episode, I'm like, I'm not playing with y'all. This is going national. This is what I'm aiming for, and I got to go and I drown out any dream. So I noticed that within that year and a half mark, I'll go to Walmart and people are like, you that guy from the Midwest Takeoff. And it became scary to me being noticed because I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. But I talked to some people that were bigger than me that's always getting noticed, some celebrities that I brought up to my show. I'm like, what does that feel like to get noticed by strangers? And how do you approach it? Like, see how they approach you, and that's how you take it. So I've been learning the game of, okay, they walking up to me, hey, how's it going? Smile first, and scaling is not what I'm here for. I'm here to get the youth, because we're all older over here. So I'm here to get the youth a message to how to do it faster and quicker before we do, and so I want to scale the kids first.
You want the money?
I guess so.
Want the money?
Oh, I get money.
Don't
get twisted. That wrong with skating.
I get money for
beyond this. Like, it was you started the idea.
Yeah.
When did you know I need to bring other people on to help me take this forward?
So
does that make more sense?
The secret sauce is who brings value, and so the value comes from, I always tell people, you're the star of the show. I'm just the host of it. So, you come on the show, I'm asking you questions that the people want to know. And then I also have a certain criteria, and I only do 10 episodes a season. So I give a supply and demand to come on my show. A lot of people, you do tons of episodes, but I do seasons. So there's 10 interviews, 10 performers. And like I said, I like going to 6 apart. You got to perform if you are somebody. So if you got a rapper, they're going to talk on the show about who they are, and then they're going to perform at the end of the show. So I give the duality of both spectrums, and if you're an actor or a new entrepreneur, I also give them an opportunity to have somebody on the show to perform at the end of it. But how I start making money from this is the mini-series I do. So I'll do an hour-long show, which is like $250 an episode. Just put it out there. I don't care. That's how. When I go on the show, it's $250. But the mini-series I go around and do, and I'll do a 10-minute segue where I'll pull up on you. I do like $50 to $80 per little 10 minutes. And all I'm doing is pulling up to you and sharing your story because you're the star, but not a lot of people get seen doing that, So like, how do I get seen? How do I scale up? And I'll pull up, like, as long as it's, in my niche, not everybody is accepted on the show. So, you got to create a value, like, dang, what do I got to do to be on his show? And that's how you start getting money from.
Now, question, do you think that because you are accepting payments for stories, are you going to get the best stories that way? Do you actually get the best stories?
You get the best stories, whether it's payment or not. People love talking about themselves.
But I don't think that's necessarily the best story. I kind of think that, just from a podcast standpoint, all of you who have had podcasts, once you reach like 100 podcasts in the city, you pretty much ran out of people to podcast. Like certain level of people.
Do you see, like, this says the Midwest?
Well,
I have 12 states I go to.
I'm just saying from a Cleveland standpoint, like once you kind of major around and say I've interviewed everybody in the city, it's like where do you go from there? So if you're just doing it for money, I always think that like everybody wants the top. I want this person because they popular. I don't necessarily think those are the best stories sometimes. I think the best stories like this person that's around the corner from your mother that might have been in the neighborhood for 50 years and fought for.
Now let me answer that, right? Everybody has a different podcast for a different reason. Mm-hmm. I don't do no trap rap, so you're not going to talk about ops and spraying black people and killing them on my show. Yeah. But there's an episode or somebody here that'll accept that. Yeah. So there's different lanes for different genres, right? Okay. So I do a lot of positivity. Like I said, a lot of youth watch my show. So there's no smoking on my show. Like if you got a cup and you got some drink in it, fine. But there's very minimal cussing on my show, like 1 or 2 words here and there. But the mom and pop stores, they came on my show. I did nail salons. I did plenty of things that's mom and pop entrepreneurship because it's all about making money in your niche. But before the money was there, the city knows me from coming around doing free events. I come from the radio, like, hey, this is where I'm going to be. If you want to interview, come here. So you got to start free to build your value. And then once you build your value, you want to, this is my living. This is what I want to do for a living. So you got to find your work.
Find a way to make money. But and I get that. I mean, just the objective is to make money. But I'm saying, I was just asking, do you think you value that? Because now, before it was like, I just wanted this good story. Now it's like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how to make money. So if he's willing to pay me, the story will come before somebody that didn't pay.
Whoever.
Like is there like a trade off?
Yeah,
like who comes first?
If I interview you today and you pay me, or if I interview him today or yesterday and he didn't, whoever came first, if the episode comes out next, I don't care if payment or what. It doesn't move you or skip you in a line. Once I start accepting payment for my value and what I bring to you, because like I said, you're the star. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, of the show. I'm here to just ask questions that people want to know. Right? So if you're the star of the show and you pay me for this episode, but I did his episode last week and it just coming out, I'm not going to bump you or bump him to put you ahead of him because that's not right.
I get that part. It was more from the standpoint of like, not saying you're moving somebody before somebody out somebody. It's like you can, because I'm accepting payments now and because like I'm going to interview somebody that's willing to pay me, that story might not necessarily.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think that I think I know what he's talking about. He's saying that there are people that take payment for stories, right? And then the people that don't take payment for stories. Sometimes if there's a payment for the story, or you're paying them, they're paying you where money is transferred from one hand to the other, people are not as authentic. Not saying that that's your show.
That's kind of saying that like you think your show transactional
because a lot of podcasters that are nationwide, they talk about these things. They talk about the fact that, like Tasha K was saying, I am not taking no payment, or I'm not paying anybody because I don't get the real story. You know, so and she's probably one, people hate her, but she's one of the top podcasters. So, but it's like, but she get like the real story because she doesn't pay, or they don't pay her. But then there are people like will go on shows like Adam, and they get paid, and it's like and it's like all over the place. It's like, I'm getting paid. I'm about to say this. Not saying that that's what happened in your show, but I'm saying that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I was saying more from just your understanding of it. Do you think that are you still getting those stories?
And real quick, we live in capitalism, right? And money changes everything. It changes how you operate, changes everything. You put on new shoes. If you got red bottoms, you like this on the camera or whole time. You ever seen that when we take pictures? Like, we don't see about shoes, but now you need to go got a red bottom. So it's kind of like money changes a lot of things. And I'm not saying that that's why I do your show.
I'm in my 3rd season.
Yeah.
So
no, I'm not saying no. I'm just saying what you explain what you said.
Yeah, so
I'm going on season 4 real soon.
How's everybody? Statistically speaking, how many podcasts go bad? What's the episode? How many episodes of most podcasts go before they stop?
Before they stop?
What's up?
10 is.
Not even 10,
Yeah,
always
most
have
episodes
to
that
do
be
that
first.
It is.
Most podcasts when you put episodes.
Yeah.
That's statistic. That's that. We're talking about statistical.
And the thing is, whatever you do, because that's not whatever you do works for you. Whatever you do works for you. You know what I'm saying? Because he got a great show and it's working for him. And when you have a great show, because a lot of times we go off the idea of what is said and how it's said for us to do it, and sometimes that's not what always works. Because sometimes you'd be like, well, you know, as you look at this number, that number, that ain't always work. This show going on season number 3, and he's doing what he's doing, or you know, another show will be going on whatever, and they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, but it wasn't meant more for a story to like to say what you were doing was wrong. It was more from like an informative, like because you are now taking payment, has that changed? Has that, like you say, are you still getting those really good stories? Because now people reaching out like, hey, I got $250, I want to be on.
But not everybody.
As opposed to you like, I want to go get this story because it's dope.
So my DM list is crazy and flooded, right? For people trying to come on my show. Plus, I have a website and an app for people to come, and we have a review team to review. If you, it don't matter about your payment. Yeah, if you even qualify for the show. You know, one thing. Our last episode was with Noir Wellness Aesthetics with Amira, who owns this place. She was our last big episode, and the numbers right now is crazy. Like, you can go check it out on YouTube and all our social platforms, our website, and we do clips just like anybody else does on Instagram, TikTok, and everything else. But this place here was the last episode, and it's been going crazy. And shout out to my co-host Cheney Sims.
Yeah, but that's all I was saying. Are those stories still the same? Because sometimes you can lose if you just after the dollar. But if you, I understand this money.
I did a lot of free work.
Yeah, me too, bro.
Yeah, trust me. When you show gratitude, when you show generosity, you won't lose that way. Because I come from a place of love. But when I first met you, came from a place of love. I didn't know you from a can of paint, but I dapped you up, greeted you, and said, "How you doing, brother?" When I first met this brother, did I meet you last weekend?
Yes.
I met you last weekend.
Yeah.
How did I approach you?
With love, peace.
That's it.
And it was all respect, and you know, we hit it off just like that. And he invited us to come to this event.
Here we are.
And here we are. It's dope.
To
you know,
expand
like
their
so.
brand. I don't gatekeep. You know, I want you're a star, bro. And so anybody in here, I look at y'all as stars, no matter if we're doing the same thing. Walmart got an aisle full of bread, and like I said before we started, all the bread is different. You know what I'm saying? But it's in the same aisle.
But it's still bread.
But it's still bread. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to break bread with my brothers and sisters.
Yeah. So let me for everybody. Everyone in here has a different format how they do the podcast, right? Let me ask y'all what happened. What helped you create your format? Because like these two brothers right here, they got the craziest format I've ever seen in my life. They literally pause the camera and go, you know what I'm saying? Topic, book, you know what I'm saying?
WWE.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking about the format and how you critique your format for the podcast.
Well, I mean, with me and him, we talk 20 times a day. So most of the times, discussions we having on the show, we have already had on the phone. I feel like, you know, people are well versed in numerous things, so it's just like when you just give people just one thing, it kind of get boring. So I think, like, you know, different avenues. Like he like talking about the entertainment side. I really don't care about, you know, celebrities and everything like that, even though I know what's going on or whatever. But other people like it, so he has to, like, we literally have arguments. He like, no, this is what people want. Yeah, and it's like and you know, a lot of times, you know, with certain stuff, I have to check myself. And I'm like, okay, you know, I understand where you're coming from or whatever. So it's a lot of, you know, giving and taking. Because it's like, if I, you know, we talking about celebrities, I want to talk about something that's edifying as well, you know, to build up people. So it's just like, so you had that balance on the show. And it's like we argue and we go at it.
I'm like, man, nobody care about peer pressure. They want somebody to go dirt.
And the thing about it is, like, we have our little arguments or whatever. We cool. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing that's like, oh, forget you.
Brandon have been on our
show.
show.
We argued.
Brandon was like, and we was like, wow, he's like,
Hey, guys, calm down.
But it's all within love. It's just like we know what works for us, you know. So it's just like at times we think of, we talk about like, should we add this, should we add that, but we don't want to mess up the formula sometimes because everything just kind of, we know how, I know I can depend on him, he know he can depend on me, and it's just like, we don't want to bring any outside forces in that's going to just disrupt, things or whatever. So we have daily meetings, like hourly, daily meetings on what we going to talk about, how we going to change the show, what we going to do, how we going to have this guest, what this guest is going to talk about, how this is going to go. And then it's like we're really going to a big transition now because like huge, because we moved from his house. Now we're at the extreme compound now. So now we have people. We walk around the gym. We ask people what would you like to hear on podcasts or whatever, because we kind of stayed away from relationship advice. Because I always tell people, do not take relationship advice from me. You do not take relationship advice from me. But that's what people. But that's what people want to hear. So now it's like, okay, so now we're transitioning into like, okay, so when we talk about relationship advice, what we're going to talk about, how we're going to talk about, who we're going to have on the show. So it's just like a daily.
Yeah, and it's crazy because some things you think that you're not able to talk about, you are able to talk about. Yeah. Just like a brother came up to me, he said, I took the relationship advice that you gave me, and now my wife is talking to me more. Now me and my wife are working. And I'm thinking, like, maybe I should take care of it. But he came to me, he told me that, and the advice I gave him, I said, you cannot just be black and white and just think like a man. You got to think with your emotions and dealing with your wife because she's talking to you emotionally, But you don't have to be a punk. Just make sure you don't make it about her. Make it about how you feel. If you say feel, we got y'all.
And I think another thing that works great for us too is because like when you have like two men on the show, so it's like testosterone. So he's the popular one. I don't really like too much attention, so it balances out as well.
A podcast a year.
but it's also like because we're mature enough that we know how to emotionally handle ourselves. So I know if I'm wrong or whatever, and he tell me about myself, I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, this is what I need to change. Most guys stubborn, like, oh, I don't want to hear that, walk away or whatever, and it's just like it's vice versa, same way him.
Gilly and Wallow type.
So it's like like dealing with somebody that's mature,
steel sharp and steel.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You think you should have two people as opposed to one individual on the podcast, or always have a guest as opposed to one person just having a monologue? What do you guys think? Dialogue versus monologue.
Yeah, that's to each his own.
Yeah,
I think it's
a
show.
It
depends on the stigma of your show.
Yeah, because there's a lot of great podcasts that I watch, and there's a lot of very popular podcasts I watch that are more than one person. That's just one person. That's just one person, and they have that. Depends on how big that person's energy is.
Yeah. He told me this. You may not remember telling me this, but it was years ago. I've been knowing Terrence since I was like,
You skipped like since you was like 18 or something.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You skipped all that.
Yeah.
But he just did 40.
But he just 37. 37, brother. So T told me one time, because I'm actually writing a book, but I don't know if you were telling me this, you were like, man, to be an author, you got to be a reader. And I think that same thing would like translate with podcasting. Podcaster, you want to listen to podcasts. Yes. Because to your question, there's podcasts I listen to that have there's a host and a co-host, then there's just one individual. And I think wherever you are in life, it will speak to you, right? So I like to listen to like Andy Huberman, right? But I also listen to I've been listening to Andy Huberman a lot. That's really the one I've been listening to right now. But y'all got me interested in listening to y'all podcast. Right? So I want to see what this dynamic looks like. You know what I mean? But I would say, man, just keep listening to the podcast and spend your life.
But one thing I can say was crazy is like the podcast I watch, they're like a one person podcast. But I watch a lot of podcasts of people that's been in jail and they just got out of jail. Like he like I was with me. And they have the most followers, like people that just got out of jail and they'll tell jail stories. And it's just one of so I watch a lot of podcasts. It's like a lot of podcasts I watch don't even resemble our show. Like we'll be at the gym and He's like, what is you watching? And I'm like, I'm watching a podcast or whatever. So like a lot of podcasts I watch, there's a lot of people that's been locked up for 20, 30 years. They get out, start a YouTube channel, start telling jail stories. They have over 100,000 subscribers.
So how I look at it is like you got Shannon Sharp. He's a one-man show, right? But he invites guests. And then you have, like I said, Gilly and Wallow, the $1 million worth of game. They're a pair. You know how I look at it. Shout out to G Baby, she was in the building. Shout out to Justine. You know,
shout out to y'all.
So Dirty Talks podcast and What Meet the City. Yeah. So shout out to them
when you did that.
Yeah. So how I do it, she's actually been a co-host to me before with me before on the show. But I always look at it as I like to do pairs. You know, but it's more like since I'm a man, I want a woman on the show to give a different perspective and also to capture emotion from the women perspective, and I can captivate the men's perspective. So it's always opposites attract, and so I always do it like that, like a seesaw or thing like that. But I feel like that works for me. But I do mini series where I'm by myself, and those 5 to 10 minutes. So I do that by myself, and I'll pull up to anybody around the city and let's hear your story because you're still a star. But not everybody can afford $250 at that time. Sometimes people can only afford $50. But guess what? You still a star. That don't take nonetheless. You got to start somewhere, and I believe in quality over quantity. So I have quality body of work. I don't just have a bunch of stuff out there. You look at my show, you're like, okay, okay. You know what I'm saying? So I believe in quality over quantity, and I feel like that's how you get the recognition that you deserve.
I would say something too. Forgive me, I know you had your hand up.
No, go ahead.
But how the hell are we forgetting the pull-up experience? Because if you watch the pull-up experience, there's been times where these two are hosting, but you've seen even B just host by himself, or it's been like just one of the ladies on there hosting, and then there's been times B has like invited like guest hosts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've also seen that too. So I would say to look at that dynamic, check out pull-up experience.
Oh, yeah.
That's my bro.
I'm about to say we done everything now. Brittany gets to speak to this. We done all the shit. I mean all of it. and we tried it and we literally like that ain't work. That ain't work. That ain't work. That works. Let's do that. And I will say this to anybody: try what works for you. Try what works for you. You just start out tomorrow. So try what works for you, and do it well, and keep doing that shit. And I mean that because that's what we do. We do panel discussions. We've done. I hate doing it by myself. I don't know who. If you do it by yourself, God bless you. I don't like talking to myself. I gotta have someone to talk to. I like the diversity of conversation and perspective, right? So just do works for you. I'll get that to anybody.
I got a question for you right there. For your podcast, and you're just now starting off. You said your cousin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why you put your hand down like that? Dang.
Yeah. Damn.
So
It's on camera now. It's on camera now.
I want to know what made you start your podcast, and I also want to know where you plan on going with it, especially being in a room like this with people that's already experienced.
Well, the reason my podcast, The Other Side, the reason I started is because I wanted to focus on the process as opposed to the outcome. I think that too many people talk about people who have it as opposed to people who are getting to it.
I like that.
I can relate to that because I'm always getting to it. There's a lot of people who think that if you get an outcome, you're going to feel some type of way. You're going to feel like you need to get something else.
Yeah.
But what's relatable and what's true is the story that we can all share that helps us along the path. The journey is the only thing. The process, truthfully, is the only thing that we actually experience. The stuff we get, once you get it, man.
Yeah.
Right?
All materialistic.
So I think that there are plenty of people who have stories and conversations. Me and my cousin talk. They always bringing me to ask for my wisdom over the past 12 years. I am a real person. My church is called a hip hop church, but I dress the way I dress. I got tattoos. I am who I am, but I'm a stand-up man. I live by my core values.
Man,
so because my brothers and my people keep saying, man, we need your wisdom. He was doing the church. He was online. I shut the church down. I said, okay, what's the next chapter for me? And that's the chapter. I got to come back to the Lord and bring it to him. So that's what the other side is about. I want to help people get to the other side. Whatever that is, I want to help you get there. And then I want to bring people who have the experience to get them there, like real value. But there's a lot of people who are getting it that don't nobody know about.
So we got ladies podcasters in here, and I want to hear from y'all too, like for real. Like from you said you do women pretty much. So can you dive into that?
So most of my episodes are usually just me, because how I format my episodes is I usually start with some type of story, because most stories, that's how you get your lessons and that's how you grow. And a lot of times, like how I mentioned before, how sorry, I'm not getting off nervous. But how I mentioned before that are we?
What she said, all women don't get along.
Women do get along.
I'm joking.
Real women get along.
I'm joking.
Queens get along.
I'm joking.
But like, all right, this is clearly we're outnumbered in this room. But we are powerful and small and mighty. That's right. But like I said, I wanted to provide a community where we deal with real stuff, because a lot of times we like to suffer in silence. And so a lot of times when I start my episodes, I talk about as real of my life as I feel comfortable with sharing with people I've never met before, never will met. And I feel that in order for you to grow, you have to break down the things that broke you down. Because once you get down, all you have is to grow, if you choose to. But you also have to have the confidence to address your triggers, abuse, or anything that you've gone through that have made you into this work in progress that you are. And as you build and repair and acknowledge and deal with, that's how you grow to become her, which is why my podcast is called Growth Becomes Her. So I always start with some type of story that's something I've been through or someone close to me that doesn't mind me sharing. And that's how I build into, this is what I've done to overcome dealing with my kid's father, which, but I had to work on things. I had to work on forgiveness, right? But I had to work through forgiveness. That was an episode, how to forgive, because we had to deal with each other. So just different episodes like that. Mostly starts with a story, and I just build, from there.
Let's go.
So mine. So I started off with just myself as well, because new in the game, nobody really knows you. So like to y'all point, nobody really gets where you're coming from. So a lot of times I was spending time just speaking from my own personal experiences on relational topics. I've pretty much been in every relational status except for widow. So I had to realize that was what God had me go through when I went through, is that my pain, because it was the most painful experience, became my purpose. And it makes a lot of sense. Now I'm able to have certain guests on. I prefer to have men on, because to give it that balance, you know what I mean? To be able to talk about topics and it's not being biased, because now we have the female-male perspective to kind of tackle this thing together. But every now and again, there's even topics where us women, we need to just, have our girl talk. So, I've had that as well. I've had Micah Dixon on once, to kind of just talk from even just the religion standpoint, just how Christianity has kind of like saved us in our hardest points. So just really having a good mix, I've found has really been beneficial. And again, I've just kind of learned that relational is my lane.
Shout out to Brittany, man.
Shout out to you, because it wouldn't have came had it not been you asking me to be a guest, then a guest co-host, and then a host. So you are who I accredit, you and God, of why this became to be, because I didn't know anything about podcasting and now have my own. So God be the glory.
I do want to speak on that because I had a thought. Me and Latif, throughout our journey, we've gone through so much, gained so much experience, met so many people in so many different rooms. And the last point that you made is something that I kind of like to bring up a lot. Is floors and ceilings, right? So when you start off at the bottom on the floor, and then as you gain experience, you get to this point where you're like, okay, I feel like I done mastered everything there is to know at this time, in this experience tier, if you will. And then when you boss up or when you get to the next level, then you're on the floor again. So now you're in a You know what the first level is. Now you're on the second level. Okay, I'm on the floor of this. How do I navigate through this? And then it goes through experience again. So I say that to say, like, when it comes to when it comes to the format. Like sometimes you might do with a guest. Sometimes you might use by yourself. Sometimes you might go online, kind of do like an Instagram live. Like one time we went on Instagram live, and it started off by ourselves. Then people wanted to join in. Then the conversation got rolling. You know, so there's never one true, only one answer. Especially as you go through these experiences, because like you said, you might be on the floor, you might think one thing, and then from the ceiling, it's a whole different angle. You like, wait a minute, hold on. Now that I can see things from up here, okay, let me try to venture about it this way. Maybe I could dabble in this.
That's growth.
Things like
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah.
They don't stop. They don't stop. It's a journey.
Yeah.
Right. So let me pose a question to y'all real quick. What keeps y'all motivated, though? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know about y'all. I didn't think about putting about it. I don't know. So I like what keeps y'all motivated to keep doing your podcast when the views ain't there, when you're not receiving the notoriety, or you're not getting what you want out of your podcast.
I could say something on that. I feel like I came too far what I've been doing to go back. So I might as well keep going forward because I came way too far and invested way too much. And you know, that's my motivation. My motivation is I did too much already to stop.
Further to get into the finish line. If you keep going, then if you stop, then you're never
I'm dead center. It's like where I'm gonna go. Why I'm gonna go back that far? It's like trying to go back to your childhood, or you can't do that. You can't do that. So I might as well keep growing with this thing. You know, so that's my motivation. It's like I'm in it now. It's like punching somebody in the face. Like
that's where you went with this.
My bad, dog. I ain't gonna put you. You got
this fight is down.
It's like I'm in it. I done threw my punches. Now I gotta win. Yeah, that's good. We're getting knocked out.
The lady right here. You said you normally behind the director, right?
I'm the director of operations.
Yes.
Right. So you're normally behind the camera.
Yes.
So now that you're in front of the camera, what keeps you motivated?
I love this. Like, I love the information that everybody gives, the people I get to meet. Because, as Brendan always says, we're all a collective of introverts. So I'm usually the shy person. I'm the person that doesn't really talk. I'll stand off to the side, but me being with the full of experience, you can't do that. So I'm interacting with people more. I'm growing. I'm coming out of my shell.
You found your tribe.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So yeah, that keeps me going, meeting new people, learning new things, and just growing myself.
I could definitely attest to that because, like, naturally I'm an introvert, so like, communication with me, like growing up, communication wasn't necessarily the strongest thing in my family. So I'm used to the idea of, okay, we know each other. We already established that we respect and love each other. So even if I don't talk to you for 6 months, we still got that understanding. But in this, I've learned to break out of my shell more and really reach out more. Am I successful every day? No, but I try to make myself as successful every day. And so just being around these, I love it when I do something and whatever I'm working on, whoever I'm meeting, whatever I'm doing, I love it when I'm able to be of service to other people, right? So in these environments right here, like this is something that makes me feel proud, representing the King Teeth Network that you can also see. As long as you subscribe on YouTube. But just knowing like I can make people proud, knowing that hey, I met this guy named Scotty, and you know what I'm saying, he was real cool. He didn't want nothing for real. He just wanted to be there to help. Like that's what keeps me going, honestly. So as an introvert, I definitely test that.
For me, it's some days because I got 5 children, so y'all pray for me.
You look good.
You know that. Thanks. But for me, like on some days, like my podcast is all I have because it's mine, and
It's your outlet.
it's my outlet. And I work for a hospital. I'm everything to I'm wife, I'm daughter, I'm mama. But this is when I can like legit be Crystal, and it's something that if I let it die, like it's on me. So it's like it's my obligation to myself to do something that truly like lights my heart on fire.
I got something to say. What keeps me motivated? I can't really speak for him, but I don't like when we doing our podcast. I don't really see it as podcasting because, like I said, we talk all the time. We really have a genuine relationship, so I don't really see it as work. I don't really see it as a job because we have a sometimes love-hate relationship. Sometimes he fires me from the show, and then sometimes I walk off from the show. So but I mean,
y'all got a good show, man.
Y'all got a great show.
That's why we rather have females on the show.
The mediator.
Yeah, too much testosterone. Yeah, I mean, what keeps me motivated through the show is it's a lot of other opportunities that you get when you're doing a podcast too. And a lot of people notice different things. People from your past, people from like your present, people from a lot of people not from the future. But a lot of people want you to do other things too. I've gotten different opportunities just for people knowing that we have that podcast, knowing they see the discipline that we have. They see and a big part of it too. Like you said, it's your thing. A big part of it does help my mental health. And he's an introvert. People suck energy out of him. If I don't talk to people, I'm an extrovert. I don't talk to people, I get energy from other people. So sometimes to actually, talking to people sometimes actually helps me. Just listening to them.
It's free therapy.
It's free therapy.
Yeah, because like we'll be at events, like even like last night, he know where I'm at. I'm like, he just be walking around talking to people. I'm just sitting there like this.
What'd be funny is we be at events, they be like, still, let me talking. And then I was talking to him, like, where you going from home?
Talk about. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Revere, man. If anybody been out Revere, I promise you, this is the most popular food all of Cleveland.
Everybody.
I just bought Revere. Hey, Revere, I'm talking to Revere. Hey, what's up, man? What's going on, man? I'm like, damn, brother, man. It don't matter. I can call him at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Not 2 a.m.
You feel it?
No, he will call you and be like, hey, yeah, T, I ask you a question, man. You busy? Yeah. I'll be like, nah. He be like, hold on real quick. You want me to go to this is what he do, bro. This is what he do. Sit down. Just say somebody I know. Just say somebody I know.
Yeah. So we out there chatting. How you doing, brother? All right, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Full live conversation going on right now. Hey, man. It's bad.
He be like, that's somebody I know I ain't seen in a long time. You gotta hang up.
I did. It's bad.
Oh, you hang up?
It's been an hour.
He be like, that's somebody I know I ain't seen in a long time.
I hate you.
So move to the scene right here. I want you to talk about what y'all got going on because what y'all got is totally different from what I've seen. And they got like a Sprinter van turned into like a podcast mobile machine. It's outside. It's super dope. So after that, y'all should definitely check it out.
We are. Sure.
Yeah. Definitely talk about that and what keeps y'all.
I would say what keeps us motivated is I love the hip hop. Like I said, I used to be a rapper. I was pretty big on the underground scene here in Cleveland. So that's kind of what made it easy for me to get into podcasting. I already had all the relationships with everybody. So I could get bigger names than most people could get coming into it. So kind of what y'all was talking about, starting off from the ground floor, I kind of did that 25 years ago by being in the industry that long. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, it's a little bit different. I've had a great experience so far. I haven't had any negative energy because my podcast is not about me. It's about you. You see what I'm saying? Same with your podcast. Yeah. So that once I shifted it and didn't stop making it about me being a rapper or me in my life and made it about you, that's when things I felt like
got a
started
story.
to take off. Yeah.
You know what I mean? How long have you been doing it?
For like 2 years now. Like 2 years heavy now on the podcasting. And like one of my best friends is a recording artist in New York. So we used to rap together, but he's still rapping. So like I could go there and get big names. So, like I took him to New York. We've been to Atlanta, Detroit on tour with Rock Marcy and all types of stuff. It's crazy. Like we know a lot of
that
people.
tour makes you bigger. Like you come back to your city and you're like, dang, you just came off a tour. Yeah, it definitely does something for you.
But that happened to me when I was doing the music as well. My first mixtapes had Dipset on there.
That's fire.
You see what I'm saying? So I always was somebody that if I was gonna do it, I had to do it all the way.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
That was really good advice that you said. It ain't about you. Because sometimes, I'm not going to lie, I'll get to talk about myself on the show, and E will be like, man, that's about the guest. Be quiet, man. So let's get talk to us. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get back to the part where you get to talk. You know, so it's like sometimes you do make it about yourself, and then you realize that the people that are watching want to see the guests, not you. They want to hear you later. Right. You know, but when it's about the guests, they're like, we see you every week. Right.
So do y'all check your analytics and know how to grow and scale from there?
Learn that.
Yeah. Okay, so
you know hustle. You better learn.
Yeah. I honestly started mine off on Instagram. So I just wanted to build a big following up and then take them over to the next level, whatever that was going to be, a network, YouTube, whatever the case may be. So now I'm at that point where I'm ready to start
YouTube University.
Because
but it will teach you Instagram, you know, and you definitely got to watch your, you know, they say that profile, professional dashboard. You got to watch that daily, like every day, and they'll tell you the best days, like the time. Like okay, so my viewers, my followers or whatever, they're all 9 to 5 people, right? So you got 7 a.m. You got 12 midday, you got 6. You know what I'm saying? And then on the weekends, you got 10 to 11, and your story go crazy on the weekends. So you just got to know your analytics, but it tells you like what days is the best times. It tells you everything. And I used to be a gamer growing up, so everything is just buttons. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, so this goes this way, that goes this way, and I repeat the cycle all the time, man. My numbers just been going up, and then me. G-Baby, a lot of us, we all went down to Remote World in Atlanta, and we worked with them, met so many stars. My analytics in 3 days shot up to like 500%, you know? And then, so when I came back here, it never dropped, you know? So, like, my views went from 100 views to 400 people now watching me, tuned in when I post a story. So, I just watch my analytics and then your captions. You always, you know, use any type of AI, you know, AI is here to help us. Right. Help, you know, you write down a paragraph and then perfect, you know, with the AI, and that will help your analytics too, because you get some catchy things on there and it'll help you grow. The new thing, don't use more than 10 hashtags. Unless you tag more people. The more people you tag, then the more hashtags.
And there's certain hashtags that you can't use anymore. They used to be very popular. I can't remember the name of them because they caught on to those things. And the thing is, YouTube, Instagram, all those things, they catch on to things that actually work for us, and they get rid of them. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I remember like a picture. I would post a picture on Instagram and get 5,000 likes. Now I'm lucky if I get 100. That's true. Because Instagram figured it out.
They changed the algorithm.
They're like, well, you're not famous, and why do you have this many followers? So, but you know, they're authentic followers. I don't have bots. So I'm like, why would they not do it? But they don't care. Because
they're not sending it out.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of different things that I have learned and have heard and studied that Instagram does. They do. I mean, this means a lot in the world.
Yeah, use ads too.
Yeah, it does mean a lot in the world. So it's kind of like certain people will they have a certain thing that gets them. You know, it does mean a lot, and I've studied that and I've seen that it does. You know, but you know, what we got to try to.
Make a commercial and use an ad and run it for a year, you know, and that wouldn't cost you a lot because you're dragging it over time. So once a month, people will see you over time, and it'll be in that Explorer page or anything like that. So utilize the ads too, you know, and you have to use original music if you want to, because you can't make money off of somebody else's music. Right. So, but there is a glitch to that, and I'll tell you off camera to how to make that work. But at the same time, you best use original music or original instrumentals, and once in the blue moon, go and.
But I gotta figure it out for like shows like that do like off the radar freestyles. Are they not getting paid because
I can't speak on somebody else?
I'm just saying, like when
I
people
think
say
it's
don't use the music,
that they're using like
Oh no, no.
Like
If you
instrumentals.
like, so I
they're
have
using
performers that
instrumentals,
my
they're not
show.
using- right.
They don't know. You don't get paid. You get exposure. You get more exposure to your song.
Especially with
Yeah, because you try to get paid off of somebody else's song. They
Instagram tried not to tell you. I have reels on Instagram that got over millions of views, and they said $7.00 before that they was trying to pay me for these reels. And then when I go to them, it's way better than Instagram, man.
YouTube and TikTok is way better to get paid off of.
Instagram ain't trying to give you nothing.
I don't
But
think
if you do,
I
get your own
don't
website.
think any other platform can try to pay us for the work. I
No,
think
none
I
of
think
them.
the value, and they figured it out, man. You give us free content, we're gonna make millions off of it.
Yeah,
The key is it's kind of like, and I mess with this Rock Phil. It's like what he did when he streamed hip hop. We started out on YouTube during COVID, and then we pushed them to the app, like come subscribe. Give us your money. Don't give it to them, give it to us. You know what I mean? But I think that's how you get there. It's subscription.
subscription.
Tyson, I did
The
that.
future of podcasting is live. For those you don't, that's all of like the conferences now. Like I say, it was podcasting. Now it's live. It's like
That stream.
direct to your market, your brand,
Direct to
and then-
consumer.
yeah, direct to consumer, and then subscribers, man. That's really like if you can. I think somebody said if you have a core following of 1,000 people, a core following, you can be a millionaire.
And they have to be very strongly invested in.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what you're gonna get. Because you can have 800,000 people, but you only need that 1,000 like really really care. Yeah.
Kai Cenat said he charges $5 for every subscriber, but he has over 1 million subscribers. You know what I'm saying?
And that's
And so
$5 million.
$5 a month per person. You know what I'm saying?
Through his personal app or is that through?
He has his own like subscription where you can lock into just him, and you can go on Twitch for that, or you can go on like his own personal website. Yeah, so I just started a Twitch too and learning the streaming game because this is only one avenue, and you don't want to just be always known for just one thing. Once you master something, grow to something else. Just like I said, the ceilings and the floors. So once you master something, now I'm going to be in my third film. I love acting. I did that in college, right? So you just level up every time you get somewhere because now you know people. You got connections. Hey, I always want to be in film. Hey, you got to open an extra role. Let me be an extra. And then the extra turns into a speaking role. And that speaking role can turn into a main character.
So that's another question real quick. With that being said, it's 2024. I guess I'm making the footage right now. But with that being said, what do y'all see the future of podcasting?
For this city or in general?
Both.
I think it's a challenge to therapists. Like a lot of y'all said earlier today.
I like that. Say that again.
It's a challenge to therapists. And I'm seeing a lot of commercials about new therapy, like finding new therapists. And I think that's just because they're in fear of what we doing. We everyday people, healing ourselves is what we recording. Like you were saying, you doing your podcast and it helps you support yourself and others. I tell my moms a lot. I send her a lot of testosterone filled podcasts. She's like, "Well, I watching this stuff?" But and I tell her like, "Yo, this is my therapy." Like, these guys understand me. I don't know them, but they understand me. I understand them. And a quick little plug, like what me and my man Dane got going on. The mobile selfie studio, what I got going on, it also includes podcasting. So, it's available to podcasters if you have, if you need a nice looking atmosphere. I got the throne chairs. Yeah, thank you, man. And the chairs come outside. You can bring them in here. You can bring them inside your podcasting facility. And I'm just trying to connect with all of the podcasts. I'm trying to be the plug. But yeah, I think it's the future. Back to your question, I think the future is be the new therapist on deck. And people want to tune in with who they connect with. So I think it's important to speak your piece, speak your mind, be honest, be truthful, and that's going to attract the people that got like minds, and that's going to help people and bring bread to you. know what I'm saying? So it's a win-win.
I got
Also, not to be long-winded, me and a buddy of mine, you know, we watch podcasts, we send podcasts back and forth to each other. And what we notice is anybody that started, that we've been watching for years, they grew. They just didn't stop. Like you say, get past whatever. Yeah, that consistency. Just don't stop. If you keep going, everybody I've been watching from a while back, they bred it up now. And they started off from scratch, like what, you know, I haven't seen you guys yet.
Sponsors and investors.
Yeah, you know, and they growing, and I'm watching them grow, and I got confidence they gonna keep growing. So they stuck with it, and they got a following, and why wouldn't it stop? You know, and I don't think it's going to be any different for everybody.
Y'all should all fill out grants too. They do podcast grants and
Really?
media grants.
Hey,
$5,000, $10,000.
I got a question. I got a question for y'all. So when he's talking about brother's talking about like podcasting being like a competitor of like therapists, how do y'all overcome? So for work, I full time I do cybersecurity in Texas, but like it was funny. I was on the phone with one of my colleagues, and when I got promoted to this different region, he's like, "Yeah, I Googled you, and I led me to your Instagram and your Facebook and all this stuff, so I know what I, you know what I mean, do on my Instagram, my Facebook." So then sometimes just me being transparent, that gets in the way of what I talk about on my podcast. But I be wanting to talk about shit that I know that I feel like the world need to hear, but sometimes it I kind of like sit again
Because you got a job, like
I got a job. So it's like and not only that, I got other business ventures that I do, and I really do care about my image, right? Because what I do, you know what I mean. So it's like what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, I can't really talk about this,
Right.
but it's good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so Chris was talking about like how she speaks from her becoming, right? And I feel like you talk about how, you know, you send your mom stuff and you like, mine is how I get free. I feel like I've experienced stuff in life that will free people, like that can give like wisdom and insight. At the same time, I'll be like, damn, is this going to potentially get in the way of like how I support fully my family, if that makes sense? So I guess my question is, I don't know that question. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying. But I want to know.
Use discernment.
I think I do.
And like there's certain subjects that I stay away from. And I would just say, but your core value is to share somebody else's story, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so whatever your core value is, you can convey it. Like say for instance, if you're talking about the ops and killing people and stuff like that, no, I'm not saying. But if they come on if they want to come on my show, right, I'm gonna ask them, why do you want to kill your own people? So I'm gonna ask them tough questions. You know what I'm saying? Do you feel like the op when you kill your own people? You know, or talk about it or promote it, right? So it's ways around the negativity if you just stand back and look at the bigger picture. Stand back and like, okay, I want to talk about this, but I don't know how people gonna.
I do that a lot. So my podcast is called Just Ramble.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my episodes so far, they all have guests. So I'll just share this with y'all. Because it's called Just Rambling, I want to do certain things like what Crystal does, where she's just talking herself. Right? You just own there and you give a 5 to 10 minute blurb or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you're talking about an experience. So like I want to be able to like diversify to where I'm doing that as well as bringing on guests.
Start it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, okay. And I'm gonna say something too. If y'all don't mind, I kind of want to digress a little bit to y'all question about motivation. So I've only put out 3 podcast episodes, and they raw. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then I got a 4th one that's raw, and I ain't even put that out. So my first guest, y'all probably seen it. Y'all know Carl Allaby. He was a mechanic for 20 plus years, and he became a physician. He's my first guest, and it was crazy because I called him and I said I'm not gonna start my podcast unless you're my first guest. And he said, well, guess what? You better be starting this podcast because let me know I need to meet you at, right? And then I had a former MLB player, Ellis Burks. B was on my podcast, right, with my therapist. In my 4th episode, I played football in college. And my center, he's a rehabilitation coordinator for Buffalo Bills. He resuscitated DeMar Hamlin that died on the field for Buffalo Bills. I ain't even released that yet. But if I'm real with y'all, the motivation thing, this for me was motivation tonight. I'm just being real with you. Because I'm like shit. Like I got friends that, and I'm not to be long winded, but I got people. I don't know if this makes sense, y'all.
Right.
I'm gonna be long winded. So I don't know if you got people that you want to love you, but the people that truly love you is who you really need to be concerned about. If that makes sense, right? So you got people who you want to support you, and they not your support. But you got people that just love you who you are, and they like, man, I'm gonna support you. So I got homies from randomly called, hey, bro, when you gonna put another podcast out? And then I got people that's next to me that want to be like, hey, man, your podcast, Ross, still ain't heard it yet. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm honest with you, I've allowed that in like my most recent past to be like get in the way of me putting out content. Just being real.
Away from them drink killers.
No, that's real. But he did. And I think, man, like where I'm at now, I go through the season of growth, and that's and I needed this. Tonight. This was hella motivation for me.
Yeah, it is.
Come in the camera. Come in the camera.
Come on, man. Come in the camera. Grab the mic.
Sit right there. You sit right there. Oh, God.
You gotta use the bathroom. That's what
Baby.
My voice is very terrible right now, but I did want to feedback a little on what you said. Because I'm kind of in that phase right now where I just did an event with like Chip the Ripper, and things is going a lot different than it was before. So like it's different people popping out like, hey, I want to work with you. I want to collab with you. You're doing your big one. But I got friends who they didn't come, they didn't pop out, but they still like, oh my gosh, hey, you just did an event with Chip the Ripper. I'm about to share this, but I'm not there. But I still got your back. But we all got different lanes, so I had to learn that like probably 2 years ago. Because at first my friends was there heavy. Every event I had, they was there helping set up, and then along the way they just started dropping. And then I found new friends, but it's just like the ones from way back when, like you said, you do cybersecurity. They're getting into cybersecurity. Then they got a family at home. They building a life. It's like we're all young. I'm probably not to brag. I might be the youngest one in this but so everybody is like.
You got his beard like it. People say, no. Who do you think you are?
We're all like trying to find our lane and things like that. So I don't know if that's what you were thinking of. Like they didn't listen to your podcast, however, they might go out and kick it every weekend, or they just sit back and watch TV and you be like, okay, but you could have just put my stuff on real quick. But that's not something that they're thinking about because it's like, hey, I got this and this going on.
And they personally know you.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in my free time, I want to chill. Like some of my friends, they got kids. I know y'all got friends that got kids. But just to get, no, for real.
He trying to hit you.
Yeah, I was. You was gonna call me out though. They called you. They even told on me. All in the mic and there.
I'm really just talking about. But that also goes kind of back to the last discussion, like the first one when I came in the room, y'all said about having a duo podcast and being single. So I do both. Like I said earlier, I'm part of the Dirty Talks podcast. That's a group of 3 of us, and then we'll bring on a guest, or it just be us on the show. But the Meet the City that I do, that's normally just me, unless I just be like, oh, hey, True, come get in on this with me real quick. But that's me going out, meeting new people, like stretching myself in a completely different lane that the Dirty Talks podcast is not used to. So though they support me, they're probably 9 times out of 10 not on the scene when I'm doing these things. You know what I'm saying? But
that's what's up. How old are you?
I'm 25.
Shout out to Chip. Chip been out since I'm 37.
Come on,
I remember driving the
I remember that. It was a good time. It was a good time, brother.
I got something big on my hip.
Come on.
Hey.
I'm just thinking. I'm gonna piggyback. It's something that you just have to keep reminding yourself, and you have to just keep thinking like, whatever God has for me is for me. Because like I'm from Akron, and I just love how the city of Cleveland embraced me. I have people in my family that's from Akron. I have people in Akron that haven't even watched the podcast episode. But but I posted my stories. They'll watch all my stories. You know what I'm saying? They'll I'll post something and probably get 5-6 likes. I got 67 people in my stories or whatever. So I know a lot of times I hate to have this negative outlook, but I know a lot of times people are talking about you in front of other people. They don't want them. They don't want to see the people that they talking to you about. They don't want you. They don't want them to see them supporting you. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to see that. They just don't want to like, okay, I'm talking about this person or whatever. I can't let them see that I'm supporting them or whatever. So I support them in private. You know what I tell people? I say, if you can't support me publicly and talk about what I'm doing publicly, don't ask me in private. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can't say anything about my podcast or anything I'm doing or support me, when you see me in person, don't ask me about it. So it's like if you can't discuss it with me online, don't discuss it with me in person. And I've had people get mad about that, but at the end of the day, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's what happened recently to me too, because I own 4AM lingerie too, so I work with a lot of models.
You better be doing it, man.
Yeah,
Morning.
she out here.
I be out here. So I work with a lot of models in the city, but I also had to start, like y'all said, with feelings. So before, I used to jump in DMs like, hey, I'm trying to put this together. I'm planning on doing this, this, and this, and this, and this. And they either see it or they don't. But a lot of people see the growth. So like what I just did, I brought my models out. Then it's, oh my gosh, Gabby, I was just looking at your site the other day. I was about to order something from you. Do it then. Oh my gosh, I wanted to model for you for a long time. I've been in your DMs for months. I tried multiple times. And now, out of nowhere, it's like, you're openly available. You ready to come. Personally, I'm going to keep it with the people that
you're doing something. Isn't that the story? Like, that's just how it goes. Yeah, that's how it goes, though.
And then I'm going to start over again. And it's going to be the same thing.
Strangers support you more than the people that you grew up with. A lot of support and new friends. Like I met a lot of you guys this year, but I didn't know you guys a year ago. So but I knew I wanted to go, and thanks to God, it put me in a place where people share the same vision, and I created a new tribe, a new family. But the people that I grew up with, or the people that's actually my family, they barely share my stuff. They watch the stories, but it's the people that like, I see you for who you are now, not who you grew up and how you used to be. But all these people are strangers and who turned friends, or who turned family members. But I noticed that it's always strangers come in to support you faster than somebody you like. Dang, you my brother.
Sure. Yeah, it's weird.
Drop a comment, and they look at you like, I'm your brother. I see you every day. You know what I'm saying? So.
Normal. It's a normal weird.
Yeah. You brought it out like, no, this is my friend.
That's just quite simple. Familiarity brings contempt. Anytime you're around somebody long enough, they kind of take you for granted.
That is true.
They don't see your time. It's like
your
how
life.
many people here filled with treasure and nobody saw it but you.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day somebody came along and was like, man, you cold on the mic. And you like, what happens is somebody said, I always knew.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because what you want to do is inspire. And the only way to inspire is to do it when nobody else wants to do it. Right? And all y'all are successful in here because you did it when nobody else wants you to do it. You did it for yourself. And I think that's special.
Great words of Cormega. Destined for greatness, success breeds hatred.
I'm about to say, it's my
Thank you. Positive quote.
Right.
Okay.
my executive. And I mean that. And I said because I can tell you times how I dated a female. She's like a little podcast. Ooh. I hate that word.
Condescending.
Little house.
Little
watch. Little phone.
That was not even a power.
So for me, it's a little personal. So I don't lie to you. So the reason why we don't do seasons, I purposely put the numbered episode in on each one, right? For part Eric get it. There's a reason why the number's up there. You know what I'm saying? So little podcast, and then we go Instagram. Please, you're gonna see something pertaining to this little podcast talking about so much. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's a little bit personal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sometimes you gotta get your mind off who not watching, who I don't know. Like it's like sometimes people don't even care what's going on in your life. They ain't thinking about you. They forgot they got their own thing going on. you don't know what people are going through.
Right,
So sometimes and information gets really dated too.
Yeah.
So if you sit up there like, I ain't put this out, I ain't put this out, maybe a year later things will change.
Right,
And you that information that got dated, you need to just put that information out. Forget who said what. Sally don't talk to you no more because she
Not Sally.
I look at them like I'm gonna see them later.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna see y'all later. And I'm gonna just give you that look
like
you should be rolling with me.
Like Eric, no, he know me. He know like if somebody don't come on the show, I don't care. I talk, I say a few jokes, a couple jokes about him, whatever. I don't care. I'm like, he know like I don't care, like cause we gonna have somebody else come on the show, or if something happened that certain people ain't watching, certain, and maybe I probably do need to pay more attention to that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, but I just understand that in life that's what happens. That's how life goes. People gonna like you, people gonna not like you. People gonna rock with you, people gonna not rock with you. Your family gonna rock with you sometimes your family not gonna rock with you. I just came to the realization that if you pay too much attention to that, you start getting in your head and you start getting headaches.
Right.
You start
doubting yourself.
You start doubting yourself and you start getting emotional. And then you surround yourself doing everybody else's day. Because you got mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I do to make you take a morning?
The cliche thing is misery loves company.
They love company.
You know what I'm saying? When somebody calls you and they're having a bad day, and there's always a continuous, like every time you talk to them, you know you're about to be drained. Stop answering the phone. Stop answering the phone. No matter, I don't care if it's a brother, mother, sister, cousin.
Yeah.
Some people, that's how they live. Some people are okay with living in toxicity, but you got to understand that that's not your life, and your vision is not everybody else's vision. So sometimes your peers won't understand it, but you see it.
Yeah.
And when you see your vision, you just got to keep being in the tunnel vision and going. And sometimes you got to celebrate yourself and you got to get off that tunnel vision and take a seat. Like, damn, I did all of that. I'm here now, and now you're in discussion amongst greats. You know what I'm saying?
And really, I'm going to be honest, I'm probably going to make people mad. But sometimes you can't, because people are not supporting you, can't be mad at them and feel like you're not going to support what they're doing too. Because you don't know what people are going through. I have watched my father for years do stuff with people and I'll be like, why are you doing this for this person and they ain't did nothing for you? He said, because it ain't about them, it's about me. And it ain't about them, really, it's about their kids. It's about who they know. It's about the people around them. He was like, I can't be mad at this person because they take care of other people. Energy.
God, right there.
You can hear it.
And I got older, and it was something, and I don't want to get too personal, there was something that I wanted help with, and I got help with that, and the people that helped me didn't need anything from me, didn't want anything from me, but I was trying to give them stuff they want. And then I started helping other people. And when I started helping them without getting paid financially, I felt good. Like, dang, this is crazy. Like, why do I feel good? Because I'm able to help somebody else. So sometimes, we just got to get outside of how we feel.
I want to chime in on that. I learned this 2 weeks ago. You know how you can give a homeless person $1 or $5 or $10, or you can help somebody. We all put the chairs back together, but not everybody wants to help. Sometimes you're just helping somebody do something, and you're blessing them. But a lot of times in our culture, we look for a favor instead of just saying thank you for blessing me, or they just receiving the blessing. In a lot of different cultures, they'll do a favor to somebody and they just say thank you. Yeah. And in our culture, it's kind of weird to say, but I do a favor for you. You're trying to repay me, and so I wanted to bless you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Or sis, I wanted just to give that out. So I don't need nothing in return. But it happens so much in our culture. We're like, didn't I just do that for you? Mm-hmm. So most people expect something back. And that's not God-given. When you come from the heart and you're doing a God-given service, you shouldn't expect anything, unless I lend you money. Well, I want that back. But other than that,
sometimes you can pay people off. Just borrow $20
and never get back.
They don't pay you back.
Never get back.
It's two sides with that. It's living under capitalism. Like we live under capitalism, it's all about money. And then another thing with it is too is living under trauma. Where people, if you're doing something nice for them, some people don't even expect that. Like, why are you no? And then they try to ruin that whole idea of you doing something nice for them. And then you like, what's wrong with this person? I'm doing something because they're not used to that. They're used to people doing things for them because they want. So
I got a question for you. You got to drift away from.
Right. No, you sitting on a hot seat right now. As a business owner, as somebody coming into the field as an entrepreneur, What some of the things have you endured, positive or negative? But you want to say that.
So I'm actually not a podcaster. I'm
But you sound like you got a lot of experience with that, though.
I do have some business experience. I'm an interior designer actually, and I'm a resin artist. So like to your point about mental health and how you mentioned that like you think podcasting might be challenging therapists a little bit. I'm really like interested in the intersectionality of people and spaces and like how the spatial planning, the materials used, the colors used, affect people's mental well-being and like how they thrive in that atmosphere, how welcome they feel, especially like in schools. I'm really interested in that with like kids. But so that's what I do. But I do have a lot of experience with like self-doubt. I feel like I've been experiencing a lot of self-doubt this past week with my business and like the conversation about your friends viewing your story, but they can't even click on it to like your reel. I'll be like, what you looking at it? Like, but I don't know. I mean, to your point too, like it's just about being tunnel vision and focusing on the positivity, focusing on what you have done. I have a really bad habit of like accomplishing things and then saying like, okay, what's next? Okay, on to the next thing. And never like stopping to like congratulate myself. Or like pat myself on the back and say like, okay, like, you know, you got this far though. This is where you were praying about just 3 years ago. And you're not even really relishing in that or like living in the gratitude of that because you're just too busy thinking about how your friend from 10 years didn't like your reel. You know what I mean? Like it's like the little things like that really can't get to you. So I kind of needed to just like hear this today too.
One thing, one thing, I hit you with, you just went
My turn.
Okay, I'm just playing. But one thing I have been recognizing that I've been noticing fear, not in myself, but fear from other people who are trying to put their fear on me. Prime example, I was actually invited here by my husband, Marlon Webb, Meet the Maker 2 and 6. He couldn't be here tonight, obviously. Don't do it, do it.
You say don't do it,
but do it. But anyway, because you know he had to be dad, so he's with the girls, and he couldn't come tonight. But he initially invited me to do this. And when I was on my way here, I was talking to someone close to me, and I was telling her like, you know, Marlon couldn't come, and I'm just going. I don't know nobody. I know. But and she was like, and you're still going, and I'm like, well, yeah, because I told him I was coming. I done sent my logo, but she was like, well, you should text Marlon and still see if he can come. And I'm like, he physically can't come, but she was just like, she just didn't understand why I would still come even though he wasn't here. And clearly, you know, me meeting y'all and, you know, it was meant for me to be here. I wish he was here too, but it got me out of the whole, oh, I'm only coming because my husband invited me. I'm here for, you know, for me, for my podcast, for my growth. So just like, and just hearing her fear, like, well, I wouldn't go without him, or you should still call him, better late than never. I'm like, yeah, but he ain't coming, so I'm going. So here we are.
I feel that sometimes too, it's really good to like be conscious of who you're going to about certain things in business.
That's true.
I have a lot of friends that are not entrepreneurs. And so like they just don't get it. Like my best friend is like, I have never wanted that for myself. I tip my hat off to you. That's way too much.
Better you than me.
You got it. Like, and it's really hard because I find a lot of the times I don't have a lot of people that I can go to about certain things that get it. So like your friend on the phone, she's probably coming from the mind. It might not even be malicious, but her mindset isn't.
She would never
do it. So she can't even like fathom or wrap her mind around.
Because even when I told her I was doing a podcast, she was like, "You want to do a podcast?" I'm
like,
"Well, yeah."
real quick. When we first started our podcast at a friend from college, I said we're gonna start a podcast. First episode, we put the episode up. He said, "I said, didn't tell him because know how he is. Didn't tell him I was doing a podcast. Find out through somebody else was doing a podcast. Bring a podcast conversation. Doing a podcast. Oh, I saw your podcast. How was it? It was terrible. Oh, how much of it did you watch? Like about a minute.
That's terrible.
What was bad about it? I don't know, just making up stuff. But I remember this person asking me to do a podcast with them before. I see I'm doing a podcast, and they would say, "Well, your co-host, you know, like what I do?" Yeah, I ain't telling you. But it was just so I let it. And this person said this right before they knew I was about to do an episode. And then I called them the next day. And like I'm like, yo, like this is somebody I even like hooked him with his wife up. Like I called him the next day and I was like, yo, then I called you for a second. And then you know what they said? You should have said this yesterday. This old, you should say this yesterday. Because sometimes I find in life that your friends ain't your friends.
That's true.
Your friends are not your people will hate you your whole friendship around them.
Yeah.
They just around you. Sometimes you're funny. Sometimes you're outgoing. Sometimes
they're jealous of that.
They're jealous of it, but it's like, but they still feed off of it too. You know what I'm saying? They still, and yes, to your talking point too. And it's kind of like they would. I remember.
Stop calling people and see who.
Yeah, I can't say that part of the story.
A lot of people don't.
But I remember this person.
You're friends with them. They're not friends with you.
They would tell you stuff.
We got a past in a row.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, I was gonna say something. I think this is all purposeful because I was so I just went to work. I was in Canada and I was on the phone with my homeboys, Miguel. We were talking about this same topic, and you were saying like sometimes you give your vision to people and they don't understand it, or you give your dream to people and they get fearful, or they'll be like hateful towards it. And I was actually, this came to me. I think this is all personal. It came to me. Y'all know the story of Joseph in the Bible. So Joseph, correct. So Joseph is sharing. We was talking about how Joseph shared his dream with his brothers, and when you pastor you back me up if I'm wrong.
Come on, Reverend.
Get about it. So Joseph had shared his vision and his dream with his brothers and his father. It said that the brothers were, and I'm paraphrasing, was filled with like envy and hate and jealousy. But it said that his father considered it. And then sometimes you tell people your dream, and some people ain't gonna like. Some people gonna be angry, but other people will consider it. And then your dream needs to come to fruition because it's going to increase their faith. And what I mean by that is if your dream, no matter what you go through, because watch this, because no matter what you go through in the process, like you get your vision, you don't know what it's gonna go through, but I'm gonna tell you, your vision coming to fruition is gonna benefit them, and it's gonna increase their faith. Because if you look at that story of Joseph went to jail. He was thrown in the pit. He was lied on, all that. Then he ended up becoming a ruler in the land. That same time he became a ruler in the land, them people, his brothers that he told his visions to, that doubted him, they had a famine in their land. They had to go to the land where he was at to get nourishment. And I can bet you that in their mind was like, dang, that vision that he told us, that we was like, we want to kill him for, that his daddy considered it, but they wanted to kill him. They needed it to happen so their faith would be increased. So you have people tell you like, you know what, man, don't do that because their faith is like stifled. But as soon as you do it, everybody else going to do it. Look at me. Look at Pull-Up Experience. Prime example. Because he did this podcast, it brought you out.
For sure. MJM would not be a thing if it wasn't around. Brandon definitely. Well, I seen where he was going with the pull-up for sure, and I wanted to be a part of that. I was one of them people in the background, like, yeah, I see what you're doing. I want to be a part of that. But had he not started that or anything like that, I wouldn't be an entrepreneur right now. I wouldn't be doing my thing.
Tell me what's the pull-up? What's the pull-up? What's the experience?
He said it's an experience.
I assist with pull-up experience. That's what I'm asking. Kind of doing my business right now. I'm making a business plug.
Yeah, and that was one of the first podcasts that I did. Like,
was it?
Yeah, before I started doing my own podcast. Remember, I talked about it.
Yeah, you did.
I talked about it, and it was just like, it was the best, man. I swear, Brandon.
You had a good time.
Yeah, like, I was like,
What's the experience?
The experience is that he's very knowledgeable, but he's humble too, and he likes to guide you, but he likes to listen to it. So it's kind of like you're dealing with somebody that actually has
you ain't talked that much today.
He has a lot to offer, but he'll take in a lot of knowledge too. So it's like it's a very comfortable experience.
Sure. And I always say God is good. And I'm saying this all because like every guest we have had on the podcast, they say the same thing. They feel comfortable. Right. They feel open to open up, and we always get. I feel like we're the best interviews. So I'm like, I didn't even say that. Oh, go ahead. You always say that.
Share more.
Yeah. No.
They give the,
And I met Brittany from Pull Up Experience too, and she's like amazing. Like amazing. First day I met her, amazing person. And I guess he knows how to pick these people that have like
Listen.
Let's go.
No. I'm so serious. And I'm always the friend. I'm gonna take them approach. I'm gonna be like, do it. Do it now. Because like you said, the opposite, the latter is the people gonna say, nigga, I don't tell you, do it. And do it right now. Don't wait, do it now. Do it imperfect. Do it without the proper equipment. Do it scared. Do it now. Because you're gonna wait, you're not gonna do it. And if anybody who knows been around me, especially Brittany, they know I'm crazy. I will be, let's do it.
Joe Jackson.
Right.
We're gonna see how it turns out.
Exactly. That's what I said. If anybody knows me, that's what let's do it. Let's see how it turn out. It worked, cool. Don't. Back to the drawing board.
We was doing episodes every day.
Yeah.
All the way up.
Yeah.
You think you're on vacation? Oh, I booked 2 of them, not 1, 2 of them.
We're going to go on vacation right now, right?
We're supposed to be.
Now, to chime into what Brandon was saying earlier about where do you see podcasting going, and I kind of see it as this. I see it's like in part. I think podcasting needs to be more collaborations. My thinking, I think you kind of get it because you're in the music industry. Podcasting is really like the new music.
It is.
Wow.
It really is. And I think that, for like, especially like if Cleveland wants to make its name, like become that No Limit, become a record label. But that's it. That really is it, though. I think it's a collaboration and that live component. Like you're seeing that they're taking podcasts to auditoriums now. So now you got these concert components that are just like a real concert. So that is the future of podcast.
I think the beauty of it is ownership.
Charlamagne.
See, the difference between like most people that have a record deal, you may not even own your masters. So now you're not getting paid. Your family doesn't benefit. So that's what I think the beauty of this is that we all own our own separate. No matter how big we get, we own it 100%. So I think that's to me, teaching ownership is where we need to be as a culture.
Well, this is why I tell people all the time. I say, take out podcasting and just replace it with you owning your media.
Yes.
You as a business, you as a brand, you as a service, you own that now. And you control that narrative. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're a pastor, whether you're a nail stylist, whether you just a rapper, you own your media, and that's what podcasting is. It's interchangeable. You know what I'm saying? You own your media now.
And peep this, we shaping the culture. You see what I'm saying? Like with this being a new thing, a new foundation.
There's no cap to it.
There's no cap to it. You know what I'm saying? So as like I was saying earlier, whoever gets started, as long as you keep going, is going to grow. So we are the trendsetters. To me, it's the new hip hop. Like how hip hop kind of came in. That's why I'm like going strong with it. Like to a degree, I think hip hop can be soul. And this is just a new form of creativity that can't be stopped. Can't stop creativity. Can't stop talent, singing, and art, all that.
Just to add to that,
Yeah, for sure.
because I heard somebody say like in the next 10 years, we're talking about 550 million opportunities for you to be able to express yourself in that creative space. But also, I think it's important for us to understand podcasts give you the opportunity to have conversations with anybody. And I think that's what's more appealing about this space, that I don't get a perspective that is singular, because the masses, the propaganda comes out through those channels. But in this space, I get to see a perspective that is individualistic, but broad from around the world. I literally can impact somebody in Thailand with information. They can hear me and see all that creativity, all that aura, all that was for the kids falling out, all that aura and all that stuff. You're in a space now where your voice doesn't have to be dampened to a specific location. And I think because of that, there is no limit.
You know what's wild? I look at analytics, man, and I be seeing Russia, India. And I'm like, we international. Like, what is somebody trying to give her?
Dude, I was in Jamaica at a resort, and dude came with me like, Steve this. Follow my Instagram, man.
That's dope.
I was like, man, I had to take a picture with him. I had to put it on Instagram, like, so y'all know I'm telling the truth. So, but dude came up to me like, follow my Instagram, man. Where
That's dope.
yeah, and I was like, that's crazy
So
because
real,
these meetings make the world so much smaller.
I think like y'all just kind of sparked on my head because I just think like I talk about the future. I think like creativity, you know, just like how you guys have a band and
Don't want to.
yeah, just drive, you know, yeah. And you know, I think like us because I think we might be the one of the podcasts in the gym. So like when we're recording, when we're recording, people are walking in and out the gym. You got people working out. You have people. You can actually look in the window there watching us while we're podcasting and everything. You know, you got people that's, you know, inquisitive asking us questions and like, oh, what's your podcast about or whatever. So, you know, just us being in the gym and just having that traffic really give us a lot of just like free promotion because, you know, people seeing us film.
And that's what Phil said when we started. It's going to give us a lot of free promotion.
Yeah, so it's just like, you know, just being kind of, you know, creative, just going to different places, doing different things. I think that's the future, just coming up with new ideas.
I'm sorry, brother.
No, go ahead.
Let me inform y'all, my mentor, Dr. Herbert Harris, he got a book that I'm a co-author in, The 12 Universal Laws of Success. That's a book that I'm selling as well, quick plug. But,
there we go.
I'm involved with an AI program that we put together. It's already here to expand podcasters like ourselves to a broader audience, to where it can, you know, it's an AI program to where it, you know, it matches your voice and turns your content into whatever, like 200 different languages. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all want some information on that, give me a contact and we'll work on that. But yeah, it's up to 200 different languages. It mimics your mouth movements and everything to make it look like you're speaking whatever that language is. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so you know, let's work together.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll tell you on camera. What kind of band you got?
It's a Sprinter.
You never know who make
Mercedes.
You never know. Mercedes might mess around one day and sponsor y'all.
They might.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mercedes.
Shout out to Mercedes. I ain't got one, but my wife does.
But that's what podcasting yields.
I want all y'all on the show.
We should do that. That's what successful podcast yields. Good sponsors, guys. So that's how you know when you're cracking, when people want to give you money to advertise their product on your channel.
Yeah. So let me ask y'all this. Let's close up. So like I know y'all like got babies and whatnot and to put in bed, right? So I want to close out everybody. Close out. I want you to tell somebody who wants to create a podcast some advice you want to give them on how to start, on why you should start, and some advice you want to give them. We'll go around.
Again, I would say do it now, like you said, and because you own it. So this is something that you own. So it's gonna be, it's gonna get big as you make it.
Right.
So that's why I believe everybody should own something.
That's good.
Yeah, to back off of that, I mean, the time to start is now, and don't procrastinate. For example, was waiting to buy my house to start my podcast, and God had to speak to me and said, "Who said you can't start it right now? I blessed you with this little, so eventually I can bless you with a lot." So I literally started in the corner, just a little corner of my living room is where I started. If you look at episodes 1 through 39, something like that, you know what I'm saying? But then if you notice, there's an episode in there where I finally got my house. Had I waited, I would just not be starting. I'm now at 44 episodes later. So timing, all about timing. And I think you said you could sometimes be your own drink killer. So start today.
Yeah, I would say, same thing. Just do it. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Don't say, "Oh man, they doing it this way, and I don't know what's gonna happen if I stop." If you got something that you think may be holding you back, use it. I actually created the name Just Rambling from really my ex-wife's friend would get mad, be like, "You just be rambling." So I started a podcast called Just Rambling. So whatever it might be, man, don't be afraid. Just do it. Just do it.
Shout out to ex-wife, best
Hey.
friend.
Appreciate you.
I would like to say, create a vision board and write everything down. Everything that ever happened to me good in life, I have wrote down, put it in my daily visual, and it has came to life. There's nothing that I have there's nothing I never received that I didn't write down. And I see it every day. I put it in 2 places outside my bedroom, and then before I leave the house, I see it mentally, subconsciously every single day. And I also wrote myself a check of how much I want to make in a certain amount of time. And I sit it there, and whatever you write down, whatever you believe in, you'll work towards, and that'll be a goal, and it'll come into your life. That is my biggest gem to anybody. Get a vision board.
When you visualize, you will materialize.
Okay.
We starting up now.
We just started.
One fish, blue fish.
I would just say small deposits every day. Just make sure that you are doing something every day. Sometimes it gets overwhelming looking at the bigger picture. At the end goal, and you get overwhelmed that you can get stuck. Day by day, little by little, deposits every day, and you'll look up and you'll be right where you need to be.
Like we did the golf clap.
Always on you. I'm an old man, so I'm certain how. I'm on call first. I'm joking. Nah, I'm just saying, just do it because sometimes we be worried about stuff that we be like, people gonna be hating on us and all that stuff. And half the time when you thinking about who gonna be hating on you, they ain't even thinking about you because guess what? They sleeping on a blow up mattress or something, or something's going on crazy in their own life. That you will realize that I'm just saying people don't be we think a lot of times people don't like us or they think about us. They
all stuff going on.
They got a lot of stuff going on, man. And you talk to them and you find out they probably like you, they probably would support you if they could. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we be so worried because that's how we are. We be so worried about this person hate it. But so just worry about yourself because that's the only person you can worry about. Then it's gonna count.
Good. I look on the positivity, y'all. But for me, I'm okay. Take it off personal. Yeah, make it personal. Yeah, a little positivity, that's cool. But make them regret that they did support you. Make them regret that they didn't, that they weren't there from the beginning. Make them regret it. Like I said, prove them wrong.
What you about to say? Make it real quick.
All I have to say is just do it. Everything is accessible. You have your phone. Post on YouTube is free. One thing that I like about myself, I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what people have to say. No matter if you do something positive or negative, people always gonna have something to say. So just do it.
He been humble. He podcast of the year, man. He took podcast of the year.
All right. So I got $1 for anybody that can name their great grandfather or grandmother. What's their full name? Wow. Double great.
Game Earl Lifford.
My man.
I know you keep it $1. Give it to
No, man, give me $1, man. That's you, man. So for those that couldn't answer, include myself. What I you got a name?
No, it's not him. He's making your $1.
I do not.
Text my mom real quick.
No Google. Put your phone down. Ain't no Googling. But my point is, you documenting history. You documenting who you are, your great grandkids, all the way down the lineage. People gonna be able to see you as long as this digital world is still in effect. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important. A brother named Dr. Minister Inky said it's important. Everybody should write an autobiography because it's your life that anybody get to read and learn all of their accomplishments and mistakes all in one area. You know what I'm saying? So you can learn from that. And anybody watching your podcast, mine, and anybody else's, they learning from it. You know? And that's gonna teach the future. That's gonna help the future. And leave your print, leave your fingerprint. Whoever was saying the fingerprint thing earlier. Leave your fingerprint on the land, and then it's next to the next level. So I'll say keep doing it. Make your mark.
For me, I would say, be authentic, be yourself. Like we said before, there's room for everybody. There's enough room at the table. Another thing I'm learning is if God put this in your heart and you can't let it go, no matter what you try to get into, how you try to venture off, and the Most High keeps bringing it back to you. And if it is podcasting, go for it. It could be just one person listening, or it could be millions of people listening. But if you're doing something that the Most High put into your heart, you have a story, you're helping, you never know who you're helping, especially when you feel like people closest to you should be your main supporters. Like you said, they ain't paying no attention to you, but somebody in South Africa could be, because of your podcast, I'm able to see another day. I'm able to stand back up. So it's never, like you said, it's never about you. It's about your impact. And there's a reason why God put us here, why he put this in our heart. And it's our job as being his people to, bring that to the world. So keep going.
Well, I just want to ask, how much time do you think you got?
Ooh.
I mean, I like that.
My butt bars.
I'm serious. I'm like very, very serious on that mistake. Who told you you have that? And if it's on your heart, it's because you're supposed to do it. And so, the encouragement I would give is, if you leave this earth before you put this out, what are you going to be accomplished? Because there are people who need what you have. There are people after you leave this earth that need what you have. And what better opportunity is to express yourself in the way that only you can, but through this medium. You were made for this moment. And you've been wondering why you're not succeeding, it's because it's your time now. So if you leave this earth, if you go another day without doing what you know to do, how you gonna feel about you? Because at the end of the day, that's all we got. We are really stewards of our own gifts and how we get out there. And this time, everybody can give their gifts. The only reason you're not doing it is because of you.
Wow. He's that brother preaching.
All right.
That's right. I see that.
Let the church say amen. Yes.
What I would say is kind of like what everybody said, podcasting is your thing. Then do exactly what you're doing now. Watch more. Study the greats. Kobe studied Jordan. Find out. You can learn from those who've done it before you a lot. You're going to get through these problems that they have. You're going to be able to find some sort of semblance of what I should not do because they've already done it for you and what not to do better. So I would say, man, just study. Just do your homework on what you're trying to get into, and get the game, get the knowledge, and if there's anything else, just remember, like I said earlier, this is a marathon. So if you're coming in 10 episodes, it's going to take more than 10. So just know it's a marathon. So
that's good.
Well, I'm not a podcaster. Like everybody said, I would just say, just do it. Be authentic for sure, because people are going to be more attracted to who you are, because you want to sell an experience rather than just a show. So you're going to gravitate to that more of you being authentic in yourself. So.
Come on, man, come behind the camera.
The one thing that I do want to mention is, and my fault, everybody brought up a great point, but the one important thing when it comes to podcasting, no matter what level you're at, is filing and organization. So we, between all of us, we probably got thousands of videos, right? But I thought about this when y'all brought up, like, when y'all get that sponsorship from Mercedes for y'all sprint events, right? And the point I'm trying to make is, like, yeah, you can upload it to YouTube, but if something, let's say YouTube get taken down tomorrow, right? Where is your video? If this company come up to you and say, hey, listen, I love what you're doing, like show me more. I want to see everything. You should be able to pull up where the video is, what date it was, who it was with. You got the audio file, you got the video file. You know exactly where it is. You got the full version, you got the raw video, you got all types of things, because it's all fun and games until you're trying to find that one video and you can't find it, and you up for 3 days trying to find it. It's terrible. It's a terrible feeling. Don't do that. Okay, make sure you file your stuff. Make sure you organize your stuff somewhere in your computer, hard drive, somewhere, because these are diamonds. These are diamonds in the form of content. So you got to be able to secure it. That's what I got to say.
I wish she was here. We should try to get back. But I want to really thank her for, once again, she heard me and True talk about this. She's like, I want to bring y'all here. Now, this ain't typical podcast studio, which I want to remind you, the person watching, that you don't have to have podcasts. So you do a podcast any and everywhere. They got a band. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
We're here in the best spot.
We got the band. We do it wherever.
You know what I'm saying? And once again, Samira for being a person of collaboration. She's not even a podcast, so y'all can do it here.
And where we at again? Where we at? We at Newark
Wellness Aesthetics.
Wellness Aesthetics. Okay.
Y'all didn't see that on camera. We took 5 minutes. We truly want to thank her once again. How hostless, and it's an amazing moment. These great podcasts, told me great stories, great experiences, and just once again, thank you for the person watching and the person listening, because you're watching history, you're listening to history. And I hope that listening to these stories and experiences is going to encourage you, that you the person listening, you the person watching, start your own podcast. Or just inspire you, period, to do whatever God called you. Because if nothing else, this whole conversation has been about. It's been about that. So listen, y'all, this has been an amazing episode. So once again, this ain't the last one, by the way. Like True said, we do this just to encourage each other and whatnot. Like Peter said, like I called him up, Gary and whatnot. You don't know who you're encouraging, and this is why we do this. And so I'm just grateful for y'all coming out and being here in this great room. And just know, like I said, like you said, we don't keep back. We don't get to the top to see each other. All right. Big facts. Big facts. All right, y'all.
Subscribe and follow to everybody.
When's the next? Listen.